This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Now, your hosts, Danny Sarek and Brad Shad.
Everybody, welcome. It's Monday. Oh, it's not Monday night, is it? No, it's Wednesday. No, I knew that. I did that on purpose.
Did you?
I completely did. Yes. It's like, yes. Do you not know by now? Yes, this is our regular Monday night stop on the Cowboys Hour, but not anymore for this year. COVID. It's too ridiculously hard, and so the last couple shows are going to be on Wednesday night, which is where we are right now. We welcome everyone listening on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, wherever you are, and watching on our stream on DallasCowboys.com. And we wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and we wish a very special thank you to our guest this evening, Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I'm happy to be here, man. Wouldn't miss it.
Are you really happy to be here, or are you willing to be here?
No, I'm super happy.
Okay,
I love the show.
Okay, good. Thanks. You are clearly, and Danny's right, it is very odd doing this on Wednesday instead of Monday. I've been doing this show forever on Mondays, and now we have to completely retrench. But it's not all bad. So to me, I don't think it's even close among non-rookie players who never had a look in the NFL. You are the breakout success of this football team this year. That's my opinion. But who's going to say no? What a great! I mean, seriously, what a great year you've had, and nobody, probably including you when you started training camp, could have predicted this, because this was supposed to be Blake Jarwin's breakout year. And look what you did. And it's just such a cool story. So, way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And are you even a little surprised?
I was a little surprised at the opportunity. I wasn't surprised at what I've been able to take advantage of. I think I've been training with that mindset to be ready for something like this if it ever were to happen. And that's just kind of the position that you have to put yourself in as a backup in this league. A lot of times guys go down, and you got to be ready to step up and take advantage of your opportunity. When
you start off a season as a backup, and that's been your role in the infancy of your career, do you set numerical goals, or do you have to find other measuring sticks for yourself?
I mean, you can set numerical goals, but in my mind, that's not like the important thing, reaching those. The important stuff is just the process goals that help you achieve, those ultimate goals. When you break down goals, I mean, you can set. I had a great college strength coach. He kind of gave us we did goal ladders every quarter, and so we would have our outcome goal, the goal that you want to achieve, and then your performance goal, another goal that you want to achieve, and then process goals underlining all those. And so those process goals are what you really have to focus on, and then any goal on top of that just kind of takes care of itself.
Process goals. I'm sorry, Dalton. What does that mean? Process goals.
Those are your day-to-day goals. What are you putting in? How are you approaching your work? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis that's going to help you achieve those ultimate goals that you set out for yourself?
And that's something you still do now in the NFL?
Yeah, absolutely. Every year.
From I guess, week 2 was the first week where you were the starter because Blake Jarwin got hurt in the first week in the Rams game. Where, in your mind, have you made the most improvements in your game?
I mean, in terms of my game, I came into this year kind of wanting to approach it in terms of developing just the pass game stuff. That's been kind of a backseat in my mind in the last few years, dating back to college, just because that's something I was more of a blocking type. So that was something that I have always felt good about is my blocking in line. And so this year I wanted to take a step back and really focus on just working with Dak, working with the quarterbacks in terms of route running, making sure that I'm as efficient as possible in and out of the breaks. Talking about how to set up different routes, how to win against different leverages. So that was something that both Blake and I focused a lot on in the off season while working, and that was something that I wanted to take a step forward in my career. Is take advantage of any opportunities that I get in the pass game, become a reliable option.
So if Blake had not gotten hurt and had continued to grow professionally as it looked like he was doing, there's a chance that these opportunities would not have come your way through absolutely no fault of your own, and not as a commentary at all on what you can do. But here we are with 2 games to play, and there are three tight ends in the NFC with more catches than you. So do you think you have, both for yourself and forced the coaching staff to rethink how they view you?
You hope so. Like I said, I've been kind of put into the this guy's a blocker for the last 3-4 years of my career, and inside, I knew that I had the ability to kind of do everything and be that all around guy that can play every down. So hopefully this year has kind of opened eyes, and we'll see where it goes from that. Obviously, we have guys that are freak athletes on the outside, and we've got options galore in terms of who the quarterback wants to get the ball to. So like I said earlier, it's all about just being able to win, take advantage of the opportunities that you get, and when the ball comes your way, just come down with it. Go forward.
In the receiving end of the game, different, and you talked a little bit about some of the areas that you wanted to grow and improve. Are there specific things that you find yourself, whether it's running certain routes or catching the ball or run after, whatever it might be, are there certain things that you have done that either exceeded your expectations or said to you, yep, that's the guy I knew I was all along?
Nothing has kind of exceeded my expectations. I would say, if anything, like I've fell short on just a couple of those, whether it be through reps in practice or reps in training camp. But I don't think that I've surprised myself. I pride myself on what I do, and ultimately the way I prepare. And so I think when those opportunities come, I know I'm ready. And that's just kind of my mindset when attacking things like that. So,
Dalton, this might sound silly, but I get a kick out of it. After, I don't know what week it was, 3 or 4, and you're shining. And you may already know this. Babe Laufenberg, my partner on the radio broadcast, tweets, Dalton Schultz, who knew? And Blake Jarwin tweeted back, I knew. How did he know? What is it about the way that you, and I know you guys have become really good friends, what is it about the way that you have worked out together, and before he got hurt, that made him know that you were going to be able to do this kind of thing?
It's the same thing that I know when Blake comes back, he's going to be just as successful, and that's just kind of the way that we approach every day, the way that we attack our work. As soon as the season was over last year, we were texting back and forth, and we were already chomping at the bit to get back in the weight room and get going. So I think we started, sometime in mid-January. And it's a mindset. It's constantly pushing one another to, get better, whether it be, in the weight room, on the field, on game day, or, we can get competitive about anything. Who can eat more at lunch? So it's like,
does that depend on the menu?
Oh, well, obviously. Scott's usually cooking up some good stuff for us, though. So. But yeah, no, it's all predicated off of just the way that we attack our work and how we go about doing that.
You don't just not have Blake on the field, he's also not able to be in the meeting rooms with you. Another big difference, you don't have longtime vet Jason Witten in the tight end meeting rooms with you anymore. So how has your role, either as a leader or how vocal you are, how has that changed this year for you?
Well, I mean, we have Blake Bell in there, and Blake's a few years older than I am. So, it's not really hey, listen, guys, like, this is how we want to do things. This is how we have to do them. Our coach hasn't taken that approach. I haven't taken that approach. It's more of just been an open conversation and an open discussion about, the techniques that we're using, what we want to do in certain plays, what look a defense might give. There really hasn't been one go-to guy in terms of, okay, how do we want to do this? It's been a very open, kind of fluid conversation as the week progresses, and I think ultimately that's good. I mean, everybody's getting their opinions and everybody feels comfortable, and in terms of letting everybody know their opinions on certain things, and I think that's very healthy, especially for a room that has multiple guys on the field at the same time.
I know that Blake, I guess I should specify now with the tight ends, Blake Jarwin has to.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. We have two Blakes.
He's watching the games from home. Does he text you afterwards about certain plays or reach out to you after the games like that?
Yeah, he will.
What has he said to you? Good things, bad things?
I mean, just things that he notices, whether it be good or bad. He's always quick. He's always like the first one to, text me after a good catch or a good play. So I know he's missing it a lot. I try not to like talk ball with him too much, but some things, I mean, we gotta have conversations about. But yeah, I mean, he's been so supportive, and I think him coming back is going to be great for our room.
Has it happened yet that he's texted you in the first half and you've seen it at halftime?
I don't check my phone.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's my boy.
Yeah, no.
That's what I wanted to hear, because there are guys who do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is so interesting to me that and I understand it, but the whole COVID thing that doesn't allow guys like Blake to be there, what he could, if these circumstances did not prevail, he could be of help, couldn't he, during a game?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's nowhere else to go with that. It just bothers me. But
it's also like dangerous too. I mean, you got a guy that's in a knee brace at a certain point, and guy that couldn't be potentially as mobile as he needs to be when bodies are flying him on the sideline. So I mean, obviously, if the circumstances weren't COVID, I don't know if he'd be down there anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, good point. Okay, we're going to take our first break, and just delighted to have Dalton Schultz as our guest this evening. And personally, having known you and watched you your first couple of years, I'm really glad the public has gotten an opportunity to see you grow and shine and kind of get your share of the spotlight. I think that's pretty cool.
I appreciate that, man.
This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We're brought to you in part by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Of course, Danny can't do that because I just found out before the show she doesn't have a Cowboys jersey, but we're going to fix that.
We'll change that.
Right? Thank you, Dalton. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. What? What are you mad at me about?
And
we're also brought to you.
Threw her under the bus
every time. We're also brought to you in part by Lou Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Right back with Dalton Schultz on the Cowboys Hour.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back to the Cowboys Hour. Misplaced from Monday, but we don't feel misplaced. We feel like this is where we are supposed to be, at least for this year. I'm Brad Sham with Danny Sarek and our very special guest, Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz. One more overview question, and then we will talk about the team and move on to something else. I'm not going to suppose that anything like this has happened yet because you are really focused on every game week to week. But how long do you think it'll take after, whenever your last game is, for you and Blake to start going at each other about which one of you is going to be the starter next year?
I mean, jeez, put him on the spot. I mean, we don't ever talk about that. We don't ever focus on that. It's not about who's starting and who's not. We both know that we're going to both be on the field at certain points. And so it's about just, getting each other better in whatever way that we can. Our thing in the off season really has been like Peloton. Like we get on the Peloton and we'll ride like side by side. And, I think I'm going at a good pace and I look over and Blake's, 12 points in front of me. So I got to crank up the resistance. So it's little stuff like that. We never talk about stuff like that.
That leaderboard is killer, by the way, on Peloton.
Yeah.
I feel really bad about myself.
Yeah. Some of those guys on there can freaking ride. Like you can tell who like actually does cycling. Because they're getting like 800s in 20-minute rides, and that's like completely unattainable for anybody.
Well, have you ever been in a situation where there were two of you, both equally and yet not similarly talented, with like complementary talents, competing for a position?
Well, I think that's kind of what pulled me to Stanford in the first place, was seeing that, how they use multiple tight end sets and use multiple guys with, maybe different skill sets than one another, and use that to benefit the whole offense. So whichever ways that we're asked to do that next year, I'm sure we'll be able to get the job done. And honestly, I just like being around players that make me better, and Blake is absolutely one of those players that makes me better.
I mean, it's an exciting prospect for the team, for fans to just think about. As you mentioned, all the weapons you have on the outside, and then they have the two of you and the running backs. I mean, it's really pretty cool. All right, I'd like to pull back a little bit and talk about the team. This has become a favorite question of mine to ask guys, because all of you, when you're doing your media interviews, you all say, and for understandable reasons, we've got to finish strong. Coaching staff says it. We have to finish strong, whatever the standings, whatever the record, we have to finish strong. And so my overly simplistic question for you is, for the benefit of people who have never played, certainly at this level, and believe that if you're not going to be in the Super Bowl, then you're, what's the point? People believe that. I'm not advocating that position. At some point, if you're ever out of the race mathematically, why do you have to finish strong?
I think regardless of circumstance, as a man, in terms of how you approach your business, whatever that may be, whether it's football or something else, you always have to finish strong. You owe that to yourself. You owe that to the people around you. And I mean, you owe that, ultimately to the game. I think if you respect the game gives back, and you give all that you can to the world returns the favor. And if you can't finish strong, that should just be a general concept in life. Finish everything strong, regardless of circumstance. Don't ever let circumstances dictate how you go about, your work.
Washington plays Carolina. Now that's been moved to the same time, or 3 o'clock. I guess they'll be playing the same time as you guys, and you guys have to win. Washington has to lose to make the playoffs. How tempting is it? I know you said that you don't check your phone at halftime, but how tempting is it to kind of scoreboard watch at halftime, or just kind of see, is this possible, as opposed to just, staying focused on your own game?
For me, it's not hard. Like I'm pretty, when the game comes, like I'm pretty locked into my own little world. So for me, I know guys, are probably going to be looking at that. But I can just speak to personal experience. I just don't even worry about stuff like that, because ultimately I can't control that. And that's going to have absolutely zero effect on me going out and playing the next snap. So.
I loved your answer about why it's important to finish strong. I'm curious if that what it sounds like it's been a kind of a personal credo for a while, and I'm curious if it's been reinforced by being a father.
Absolutely. So many of these lessons that I've realized that, I've learned over my years and through, various different coaches and being around various, different players, those lessons and ideas are in the forefront of your mind every day. When you see your little, your little 2-year-old running around the house, and, it puts some very needed perspective into your life. When you realize, the weight of your decisions on a day-to-day basis. And I think, being able to teach a young mind and to shape a young boy, especially in this world today, is something extremely valuable and something that I definitely don't take lightly. So, I mean, yes, again, those thoughts are always circling in my mind, and I'm always thinking about, okay, well, when it comes time to do this, how do I want to, how do I want to approach that? Do I want to let him figure it out? Do I want to, get some guidance and see where it takes him? And, I think about that stuff a lot. Yeah.
Do you have you seen examples yet of what sponges they are?
Yes. Sometimes with, things that might not be great.
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy might say something that should not be.
I was going to ask, he's 2-ish, right?
Yeah,
is he over 2?
He's about 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, good. So he's verbalizing some.
Yeah. He's talking so much.
Oh, good. And so have you?
Yeah,
so are you yet to the point where something comes back that where he got it, but you're
absolutely.
A little, oh boy.
Yep. Oh boy. And then it's like, okay, do we say, hey, don't say that? Do we nip it at the bud and like draw attention to it, or we just kind of like, leave it? And then there's 2 different parenting methods there, but.
Yeah, and there's no manual, is there?
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's absolutely zero manual.
Right, you just kind of stumble along and try to hope.
I know nothing about this manual yet.
I know you don't, but trust me.
Does he have any idea of what you do, or kind of grasp, how cool it is that Dad's a football player?
I don't think he understands yet. But every time we have the TV on and we're watching some type of sports, he calls it daddy football.
Oh, cool.
Whether it's like basketball or like soccer, football, he just daddy football. So he gets it. I don't think he just, understands it yet.
In the early stages of this season, when things were going so much worse as for the team than anyone could have anticipated, how much did it help you to come home from a tough practice or a really disappointing game and realize that he just doesn't care whether you won or lost? All he cares about is Daddy's home.
Right. All he cares about is Daddy's home and what toy can he bring out from his room next.
Right. I mean, but
I'll get home and I'll have like 4 or 5 toys in my lap.
Yeah.
Before I can sit down.
Well, that's in his contract, Dalton. You might want to review it a little bit.
You're right. We did. That was in there. I signed it.
Yeah. There you go. But I mean, did you find that helpful in kind of you used the word perspective a minute ago? I think sometimes with kids, when things aren't going well and they're really young like that, we realize what's important and what's a little less important than maybe we thought.
Absolutely, especially through struggles. Whether I would have the year that I'm having or not, I mean, he's going to be the same kid, and honestly, he's not going to care what I do or where I'm at, what I'm doing, and that's just, I don't know, that's a pretty good feeling.
How nice is it too? We heard Mike McCarthy talking today earlier during his press conference about making sure that you guys had plenty of family time with Christmas coming up. I know that I think you guys had some more time around Thanksgiving as well. How nice is that just to be playing under a coaching staff who also values that you guys have important things in your life outside of this building?
Yeah, he's been like that since day one. That was like one of the first things he said when he came in, was that first and foremost, it's a family-oriented, a way of approach. So he's like, listen, if you ever have anything that is going on and you need to leave, like, go take care of it. You need to take care of your family first. And so, having the opportunity this week, he's given us a little bit of time on Christmas, and that's that's going to be awesome. Especially, I think, my son's kind of to the point where he's getting a little excited for Christmas. We just took him to see the holiday lights last night, and
cool.
he was like spazzing out. He was hanging out the window. It was awesome. So he's getting more into it now, and so I think waking up on Christmas and going through that whole deal with them is going to be super fun.
Outstanding. Dalton Schultz, Cowboys tight end, is our guest on the Cowboys Hour, and we will have more with Dalton in just a moment.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour is brought to you in part by Papa John's. Order Papa John's Cowboys Family Special, a large specialty pizza and large 2-topping pizza for just $24 at papajohns.com. Official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
And we'll be right back on the Cowboys Hour.
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back. It's the Cowboys Hour. I'm Brad Sham with Danny Surek, and delighted to have as our very special guest Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz. And some conversations that we have when we're away don't get repeated, Danny.
Yeah, because I'm not saying anything that can be embarrassing for me on air. That was just a normal conversation. If I had said
what was embarrassing about not having a jersey?
It's just, remember back in October when I was talking about the pumpkins?
Yeah.
And then you brought it back up on air, and I had to tell everyone that I actually didn't after making a big deal.
It's humanizing for people.
I know, but you would think I would learn my lesson by now, that the little things I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah, I think it's endearing myself. I think it's very charming.
Dalton's going to hook me up with a jersey, right?
Totally.
Absolutely. So I do want to go back to the beginning of the season from a team point of view, because I started to say before the injuries, but the injuries really kind of started from the beginning. But how difficult was it to process as one key outstanding player after another goes down, and then you suddenly look around and you say, this is not the team we came to camp with, and the season starts to feel like it's getting away. How hard is it to process that and stay on daily task?
I don't think I have processed it quite yet. I probably will after the season, looking back on it.
Is that because you just have to have such tunnel vision when you play the season?
You have to. There's two ways to kind of go about things, and you can sit and look at and overanalyze and start feeling sorry for yourself, or you can come back to work ready to go with what you have. And I think that's just the business that we're in. That's the NFL. That's what you have to do. Otherwise, you really stand no chance.
Going through all this adversity, I guess this is a two-part question. Personally for you, and then as the team, I know the season's not over, but by this point, what will you be most proud of that you and then the team in general have been able to accomplish so far throughout all of that adversity?
Being able to stay together, one. Everybody, I think, especially early in the season, was ready to, rip us apart, and whether it be the media at our throats, fans, pissed off, and I mean, don't get me wrong, we're frustrated too. But I think a lot of other locker rooms might have fallen apart in a situation like that, and that's not something that we do. That's not what this locker room is about. That's not what the leaders in the locker room have set the standard to be. And so I think being able to come closer together in the face of adversity is something that's always very it's a good reaction to have. It's very redeeming, especially going through tough times.
You're not the first player who has said that they are proud of the way this team has stuck together, and you mentioned it's the leadership. Why? What kind of leadership is it that has kept your teammates together through all of this?
Well, I mean, I think first of all, we don't really have, a bunch of guys with, very personal egos that, get in the way. And I've been fortunate enough that I really haven't had a locker room with that. I went to a good high school. I obviously went to a pretty good college. We never had any guys that were, it's all about them. It has to be about them. And if they're not getting theirs, it's not worth it. And I think I've been spoiled with the locker room that we have here. There's nobody really like that. Everybody's always about the team. Nothing is greater than your role to the team and helping the team. And I think that's just been a blessing to be a part of it. The guys in this locker room.
That makes me think about hearing you say what you did just now about how you've stayed together. It brings to mind what sounds like a coaching cliche until we hear guys like you say that Mike McCarthy has said several times about how going through this together will wind up helping. It'll wind up making you stronger in the future. Do you think that's just coach speak, or do you believe it?
True, absolutely. I think whenever you go through a hard time, in football or just in life, you're able to come out on the other side a better person, a better football player, a better man, and that's definitely the standard that's been set here.
You talked about, before I move on, are you good about team stuff, Cowboy stuff? I want to go different direction.
Go wherever you want, miss.
Well, you touched
because I don't want the look.
Oh gosh, see, Dalton's gonna spit his water out laughing at that.
We all know the
look, don't we? We all know the look.
Man, are you guys finished? Can I go on, Brad?
It's your show. I'm just a passenger.
You talked about locker rooms you've been in, went to Stanford, and what was interesting when I was looking more into that was how many of your teammates, yourself obviously included, are in the NFL right now. There's a handful of guys that you played with, and you're all, on different teams. You got Christian McCaffrey, Austin Hooper. I'm curious to know how fun that is, looking back at, that you guys have gone through this together and you've made it, to the big step, and then how fun it is when you get to play them.
Oh, it's super fun. It's always fun playing somebody that you had the opportunity of grinding through an off season or multiple off seasons with. Those off seasons in college, especially, really, I feel like band a team together, especially the way that we did it. And I going through that, and being able to come out the other side playing in the NFL, just adds like that little extra bit of like, all right, like it's going to be a competitive rep. Like I'm gonna beat you on this, and just that little that big the back and forth is super fun. It makes certain matchups very fun to go against. Obviously, I have a bunch of respect for every guy that I played with and every guy that I play against now. And so it just adds a little bit of extra flavor to the rep or the game, whatever it may be.
Why'd you end up at Stanford?
So I originally reached out to Stanford in 8th, 9th grade.
Stop. Seriously?
Yeah, because they had the way that they were using the tight ends at that time was like awesome.
Well, they were tight end for a long time.
So
you're part of that.
They had Levine, they had Colby Fleener, Zach Ertz, and they were just running 3 tight end sets. And I was like, yo, I want to do that. So I reached out to them. We got the process going. A couple years later, give me an offer. And as soon as that offer came in, I mean, I kind of knew. But it was still fun to be recruited. So I was like kind of enjoying that process too. I was just trying to take it in. I knew it was only going to happen one time. So I didn't commit right away.
Well, who else recruited you?
A few other teams, a lot of Pac-12 schools. There's a couple SEC teams, but I don't think I was willing to like move that far away from home. The teams that the furthest team was probably Notre Dame, and that was just that's because Notre Dame has a great tight end tradition as well. So
it's hard to find tight ends now. It really is. It's getting harder and harder because they're. Not many college teams and leagues are playing traditional offenses, fullbacks and tight ends. If you can find one, God love you, go take him. Why do you think that is? What can make that change? Or how does a young player, maybe he's a big wide receiver, maybe he's just an athlete and they're trying to find an athletic home for him. How does a kid make himself be an NFL tight end if he hasn't been in a program where that's a position that's been stressed?
I mean, damn, that's a great question.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
So, I mean, that was also part of the reason that I picked Stanford was I wanted to be a part of an offense that used the tight end in multiple different ways and not just split out as a receiver. I started off my little league career as like an offensive lineman, and I was offensive lineman all the way until I was like 13. Made the move to tight end.
Was that because of your size?
Oh yeah. I was I was the big kid. I was always like X'd out. So I made the move, and that was just kind of something that I carried with me was that that experience of being the hand in the dirt blocking type guy. And I think for a lot of young kids that it's important, especially as a tight end, to still have that ability, because I think ultimately that's what a tight end's about, is being able to put your hand down and block and seal edges and reach and stretch edges, and then creating mismatches for different DBs down the field. And I think that's kind of the embodiment. You see, especially we have like great examples of that. I mean, George Kittle's a perfect example. The guy's hand in the dirt, like trying to rip dudes' heads off every time he comes off the ball. And so it's important to round your game in many different ways, whether that be through drills, and ultimately, I think the most important thing is just doing it in practice, whichever way that you can. Don't be afraid to branch out. The tight end position has always been about versatility in any way that you can. So I think the more you can do, the better off you're going to be.
Did some of those things apply when, I know a lot of our ears perked up when in training camp when Mike McCarthy talked about his tight ends being his fullbacks, especially with Jameis having opted out this year, and there wasn't a true traditional fullback on the roster. You and Blake Bell have both kind of taken turns and done a nice job of that. Is there a different approach and skill set to doing it in the backfield than there is online?
Dude, way different.
Say more.
Different. Like you see things different. I mean, obviously you're not up in the line, so you see more of the picture, which is nice, but it's also like, dude, I don't understand how good fullbacks like Jameis are able to, drop their hips on contact and keep that balance and are able to create so much explosion. Because when you have a linebacker 5 yards off and you're 5 yards off and you're running full speed and I'm 6'6" and the other guy's 6'2", I mean, naturally, he's got me beat just by, height difference. So you have to find a way to be able to drop and still be as powerful as you would be coming out of a 3-point. So there was a couple reps through training camp that it was humbling. It's a lot different skill set. It's tough.
Have you come to enjoy it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's fun. Obviously, some blocks are easier than others. Some are some are harder. But it makes me respect the guys that do that kind of work. The Ravens fullback and Kyle Juszczyk just got their Pro Bowl nominees for the fullback position, and those are two guys that are consistently at the top of their game. And dude, I have a great respect for what guys like that do. Yeah,
but the Ravens guy's a tackle, though. Ricard, he's 290 pounds, or 310 pounds.
Dude, I saw him when we were playing him. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even, because obviously I'm on offenses. I don't look at the offensive depth chart.
Right.
And so we looked it up like, a few days after the game, and I was like, holy hell, this kid is like 300 something.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why he's a pretty good blocker.
Yeah,
no question. All right, one more break, and we'll be back with more with Dalton Schultz on this week's Cowboys Hour.
Cowboys Hour is brought to you in part by Omni Hotels and Resorts. This fall, do more than just stay apart. Stay a part of the game and stay a part of the Cowboys. Experience football season at Omni Frisco Hotel, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys, and enjoy all the dining and entertainment options the Star has to offer.
We'll be right back.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back. It's the Cowboys Hour. I'm Brad Sham with Danny Sarek, our very special guest, Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz. I do want to say before we come back to our conversation with Dalton, this is our penultimate show of, I love the word penultimate. You don't get to use it very often. Yeah. It's our penultimate show of the season, and I won't be able to do next week's because I'll be doing the national radio of the Cotton Bowl game. And that means this is my opportunity to publicly tell Danny how thrilled I am to be working with you on this show and what a phenomenal addition you have been, in my opinion.
I appreciate that very much. It means a lot coming from you. It's been a lot of fun.
That whole time I was saying that, she was looking at me like, when's the other shoe falling? I know something else is coming. Where is it? There's nothing else. That's it.
Thank you.
I will miss until hopefully next year that we are able to do this again. So coming into this game with the Philadelphia Eagles, Dalton Schultz, both teams are different from when you played several weeks ago. They've had a lot more injuries. I think you were on your third quarterback then in that game. When you approach these division games for the second time, and it's been a few weeks and the teams have changed, how does that affect the dynamic between the two teams?
It probably affects, obviously some of the scheme stuff. So for coaches, they probably look to do slightly different things. Just by looking at their defense, I mean, their front seven really hasn't changed much. So, we don't expect, a completely drastically, different game in terms of the run game. I think they got a few of their DBs back, which will be good for us. It'll be a good challenge. But I kind of leave that to the coordinators. I just look at the plan and try to diagnose how I can execute the best on a week-to-week basis. So,
when you're playing, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but when you're playing in a divisional matchup, and you're playing in a game where it's pretty much win or go home at this point to keep your playoff hopes alive, do you feel more juiced up or excited for this game than you do in other weeks?
I wouldn't say, more one way or the other. You definitely, you want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same page and in the urgency that you need throughout your preparation in a week like this. So, making sure that, you cross your T's, dot your I's to the best of your ability, especially down the stretch. I think it's easy for a lot of guys to go, it's kind of out of control. We got to just, do what we do. But no, this is like you said, it's a win or go home type game. So I think just making sure that everybody has that same mindset going into it is extremely important in a week like this.
So let's get to the important stuff. Dalton, do you do your own Christmas shopping?
I do. Who else would do it for me?
Well, you could have an assistant.
I do my own stunts.
Yeah, you do. There we go. I applaud that. There are guys, who have people who do that stuff. They have assistants. They have staff.
Luckily for me, I'm not at a point where I have to do stuff like that yet.
And do you? Now it's a little different maybe this year because of COVID, but if that weren't the case, are you a go check it all out at the store guy, or are you an online guy? Mostly
online. There's a few times where I'll need to run out and get something. But if I'm going anywhere, especially around this time of the year, I am on a one-track mindset. Like, I'm not going in to browse. And
you're a guy shopping. Guys, yeah, that's how guys shop.
That's how we do it.
We hunt.
We have one thing. Yeah. We need it. We go straight to it. We walk out.
Drives women crazy,
what that's
too.
Like.
It drives women crazy. You go into a department store, there's a blue shirt. I'm gone.
Yeah, but on your way to the blue shirt, you see shoes that you really like.
Yeah, but I didn't come for shoes. I came for a blue shirt.
Doesn't
then
matter.
I found the
You
blue
have to
shirt.
get the
We are
shoes.
simple.
We are simple
beings.
We are simple
all we need.
beings.
Must
We have
be
one
nice.
goal, and we need to accomplish that. And once that's done, we're on to the next goal.
Now, are you thank you. Are you an early Christmas shopper or are you a last minute guy? And it's hard
Yes.
for a football player.
Yes.
Yes, both.
Yep.
Yep. So are you done? No.
No.
No. It's some people don't start till the 24th. I've never understood that, but
Some people like to bring it down to the wire. They like entertainment.
well, that's more than entertainment, Dalton. That's a kind of a living dangerously. That's right on the edge kind of thing. But now, for the mother of your child, that's got to be the right thing, right? Now, will you get that in October if you see it, or is that I don't know what I'm going to get her this year?
I definitely think about it long before, the Christmas season is upon us. So whether I get it early or get it late, I know what it is and I know how I'm going to do it. So it's just a matter of, going out and, actually going to the store, actually clicking buy now on Amazon as many of us are this year.
That's good. That's thoughtful, intentional. Do you do any of the, with your little boy, like the Elf on the Shelf or things like that?
Yeah, so we will. We're not at that point quite yet. Like he's starting to get the Christmas spirit. He's starting to understand. But I think that's something that we do next year or the year after. Is start to do stuff like that when they're when he's a little older. We'll have a newborn this spring, so that'll be fun. We'll start.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Start the whole process over again. So
You are right at the end. One more and you're playing zone the whole time. You can still play man to man with two. Once you get to three, it's zone.
What's on your list this year?
What's on my list? Playoff berth.
That's a good gift to ask for, to earn. It's a good gift. A little different, I guess, kind of not necessarily for Christmas, but I hear that you are a gamer.
Oh, every bit.
Look out. I'm just going to sit back now.
You've piqued my interest.
You are
I'm
in
not a
Danny's
gamer.
wheelhouse now.
I wouldn't consider myself a gamer, but I have heard.
What's a game? What's a gamer?
What would
to you?
other people consider you?
what is that?
No. Well, okay, so I used to play Nintendo 64
Boom.
when I was amazing.
Gamer.
But gamer. Well, the thing is, Antoine Woods was my first guest when I started helping out on the show, co-hosting the show, and he basically implied that I would
You're
be.
not helping out. You're carrying it. Go ahead. Yeah.
And he implied that I was as good as his 4-year-old son would be at Call of Duty because I'd never played. And he said, they didn't have any girls in their groups, and of course my competitiveness just came out. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I have played it once, and I really wasn't that bad. I felt really I described it as if you're watching a horror movie. I was anxious, I felt like something bad was going to happen the whole time. So I wouldn't consider myself a gamer, but I have heard that you have a really nice setup. Do you play with guys on the team?
Yeah, for sure. Me and Antoine have been talking about it recently. He's been kind of streaming on his Tuesday off days, and my off days, I have my process and I kind of do what I do in season. But as soon as the season's over, hopefully in a few months or in a couple months, we'll get back to that. I think me and Antoine, we did it already. We streamed one time in the off season. That was super fun. We did some Warzone together, and he's kind of got his own little Twaka TV thing going on. So I've been kind of pushing that. I've been trying to hype that up for him. But yeah, when the season's over and all the work's done and we have some downtime, absolutely.
Are you more competitive on the field or when you're gaming?
I'm just competitive in general. So I think that's pretty, it's a standard line, just about anything I do.
And do you see signs of that in your son yet?
Not yet. I don't I think the competition aspect is something that he's going to be introduced to in a couple months.
Would you encourage that, or would you discourage? Knowing what you know about yourself and how you react to competition in all things, would you encourage that or discourage that in him?
I'm definitely not going to discourage that. I think that competition is good in a lot of ways. My wife is also the least competitive person in anything. So she's kind of got the opposite mindset. So I think they'll kind of fall somewhere in the middle.
All right. So you are going to be playing. Let's move ahead 3 years. He's 5, almost 6. and you are playing some kind of a game, board game, physical game, whatever it is, you let him win?
Absolutely not.
That's what I'm talking about. Because?
No participation trophies, buddy. You earn it.
Got to teach him young.
Teach him young.
There's only one way to do that. Absolutely right.
When you beat your dad, you've earned it.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Well, we know what we know the wellspring now of what we see on the field. I really appreciate the time tonight, Dalton. You had other things you could do, and as I said at the beginning, it's just been such a joy to see you get the opportunity to be the football player that was in there all the time, and we look forward to so much more. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate those words, man.
You bet. Dalton Schultz, and so Merry Christmas to all. And for now, to all, for Danny Sarek, I'm Brad Sham. A good night.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?